Can these disappointing Disney restaurants redeem themselves? Let's find out.
Hey there, Man Family. We're back for a new episode in our Restaurant Redemption series. This time, it's all Epcot, baby.
Epcot is the hub of eating and drinking in Walt Disney World. From incredible signature dining experiences to festival favorites, there is a lot of good stuff to eat and drink at this park.
Which makes it even more disappointing when you get something that's subpar.
Today we are headed to 3 different dining locations, which all on paper sound awesome, but in experience aren't always, and see if they can redeem themselves. First stop, we have made it to Mexico, where we're headed inside the pyramid to dine at the table service restaurant San Angel Inn. Disney describes this as dining in perpetual twilight at this Mexican restaurant, modeled after a 17th century hacienda at the base of Mayan ruins. Sounds incredible. In fact, I remember being a kid and my mom telling me how excited she was she booked a reservation here because not only is Mexican my favorite kind of food, but it was inside the pyramid and you could watch the boats go by from Grand Fiesta Tour. Most of the time I come here as a kid and an adult, I have felt it's meh. It's a little inconsistent as far as the food goes. Some dishes are great, others are just fine, and none of it quite seemed worth the price, especially when you've got the quick service restaurants that slap right outside. But can it redeem itself? Only one way to find out. Vamos. All checked in for our reservation. I do recommend making reservations here. It is very popular, especially during busy times of year, because people want to get inside, get that air conditioning. And again, it's awesome in here. I love that it really does feel like it's nighttime or evening hour all the time. You've got the pyramid, you've got a volcano, bonus points for lava, and it really does feel like you are outside in a mercado all the time. Now, I should note Grand Fiesta Tour is currently closed for refurbishment, hopefully to make Donald a plant again, fingers crossed. So we aren't going to see boats sailing by today, but imagine that they're here. We've gotten our seat, and my contacts in the lava business must have known we were coming because they've got us real close to that. May have to do some side business on our way out of here. But I wanted to point out that this restaurant is not only named after, but modeled after a famous Mexican restaurant in Mexico City of the same name. It is located in a renovated monastery, again in Mexico City, and it's famous for its architecture, gardens, fountains, and cuisine, and it's actually considered a sister restaurant to this one. So that's pretty neat. And now I want to go to Mexico City to try that one and see if it's the same. Gonna guess it's better.
Taking a look at the menu, well, in better lighting than what I'm currently holding it up to show you. Oh, thank you so much. Taking a look at the menu now, thank you, Van, I appreciate you. First, we start with soups and appetizers, things like the sopa azteca, the guacamole, chilaquiles. Then you move down to their signature drinks. One thing to note, the drinks that are made here are made in the same spot as the Cava dos Giles. They share the same team. There is one notable difference, however. There is a signature margarita, the San Angel Inn margarita, that you can only get here. On the entree section, you have some classic entrees like tacos or enchiladas, but you also have Caesar salads. On the back, you will also find some more drinks, tequila, mezcal listing, some flights you can pick up if you are so inclined, wines, red, white, and sparkling. And then, of course, you have the famous handcrafted margaritas. You're probably used to getting these if you get into the Cava dos Tequila, but you can also grab those here. Our drinks have arrived. Molly, once again, executing the light holding perfectly. I picked up the corn old fashioned. This is made with Abasolo corn whiskey, Iligo reposado mezcal, Caribbean cask. Ooh, interesting. 10-to-1 dark rum, Lost Irish whiskey, Nixa corn liqueur, Roaming Man rye bourbon, and spice bitters. That's so very many different spirits. I'm excited to give this a shot. Okay, that is spirit forward, but it's not as aggressive as you think it could be because of the corn liqueur, giving it a little bit of that corn sweetness. I really like this. It's actually old-fashioned, I'd say, is light and refreshing, even though you can very clearly taste all the different spirits inside of it, and a little bit of smokiness from the mezcal at the end is incredible.
And I went ahead and grabbed the signature San Angel Inn margarita. This is made with, oh gosh, my pronunciation, Centinela Anejo tequila, Alma Finca orange liqueur, rosé wine, Abasolo corn whiskey, fresh lime juice, and a black ant salt rim. And it's served in a tiny glass, but you get a little shaker so you can continue to refill it, which is actually quite nice because then it would presumably stay cool. Cheers. That's delicious. That's like a very good classic margarita, but it's got a little bit of pizzazz because of that rosé wine and the whiskey, which I don't think actually tastes like whiskey. It's just adding more of a spirit-forward flavor to it. Mostly I'm tasting the lime and the tequila, which is what I want to taste when I'm drinking a margarita. It's not overly sweet. Like I do think some of the margaritas can lean that way inside La Cava. And because it's not from La Cava, it does taste like this one was not batched in advance. They do batch a lot of their popular beverages because they have so many guests they're turning over. So this one tastes, it may be batched, but it doesn't taste like it. So I'm very into this. Our food has arrived. Shout out to the lighting team. We ordered 2 appetizers and 1 entree. We're gonna share everything. This is our entree right here. It is the enchiladas de pollo. These are corn tortillas filled with chipotle chicken, covered with ranchera salsa, crema mexicana, cotija cheese, and crispy onion straws atop beans, served with a side of plantains, which are topped with crema mexicana and cotija cheese. These look phenomenal, I have to say. We also got the guacamole, which was topped with mango, toasted pumpkin seeds, and served with chicharrones and salsa valentina. Chicharrones are pork rinds, but we also asked for a side of chips. And then the queso fundido. This is melted Monterey Jack cheese topped with chorizo, poblano peppers, and onions, and served with flour tortillas. It's kind of like a make-your-own quesadilla situation. I should note they also have the delicious white queso that you can get in La Cava here, but we wanted to mix it up a little bit. Warm, house-made tortillas. I'm gonna mix this all together. I mean, it's just hot cheese. What's not to like? Okay, it's melted cheese and a tortilla, so it's obviously delicious, but I think it's a little under-seasoned, which may be because they're trying to cater to more palates, but I want it to have some heat. The chorizo on its own has a little bit of heat. It's a little salty on its own, but mixed together, it's good. I just wish that they had a spicier pepper or some jalapeno. I'm gonna ask for some hot sauce to zhuzh it up a little bit. So it's very good, but it's just, for me, a little, I want it more heat.
Pork rind as intended. Is that mango?
Yeah.
Oh, above average guacamole. I love that we have the pepitas, so the pumpkin seeds on top, and the mango to break it up. Really what I like the most about this is that there is a hot sauce on the pork rind, so you get a little bit of spice. It's not gonna knock your socks off, but it's enough to let you know it's there. Plus the creaminess of the avocado and the guacamole. This is a killer shareable app.
I love enchiladas and actually had a craving for enchiladas the other day, so this is perfect timing. Got that creamy red sauce. Oh yeah, look at all that cheese. I did not think I would like the enchiladas more than the bowl of hot cheese, but the enchiladas for me are the best thing on the table. They have so much cheese. Like, as a cheese lover, this is the dream amount of cheese. It's an abundance of cheese. The chicken is cooked perfectly. It's nice and moist and flavorful. I like the crunch from the onions on top, but I think the real star of the show here is the red sauce, that enchilada sauce. It's got a little bit of heat. It's not blowing me away, but it's what I wanted in the queso fundido, where it's spiced well, that peppery flavor. These are phenomenal, definitely shareable, huge dish. I would get these again.
Okay, well, I'm full and we still have 2 more places to go, so this is starting off strong, but I will say that I think San Helen has redeemed itself. Objectively, the drinks, I was never worried about, right? The drinks are incredible. You're sharing a drink staff with the Cava del Tequila. It's incredible. The food, always better than what I've had in the past. So objectively, it's redeemed itself.
However, even though I agree it's redeemed itself, especially with the drink conversation, because like when we went to Coral Reef in the first video of this series, we were like, why would you ever pay for a drink here when Mexico exists? And
hey, yeah,
there you go.
There it is.
But if I zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger pavilion, I still don't know if this would be a recommendation I would make unless you're looking for somewhere to get a high dollar meal with your dining plan, if you want to sit down somewhere and relax. But you can get very similar dishes or sometimes the same dishes out at the quick service locations here, the Cantina and La Choza, for like half the cost. So for me, if I'm eating in Mexico, I would rather, I think, go to one of those locations, because honestly, as good as the food was today, nothing topped the empanadas you can get at La Choza de Margarita.
That's true. And if you're a big fan of the guac, for example, the guac recipe is the same throughout the pavilion. The only thing that might differ is the toppings.
And they literally have the mango pumpkin seed ones that we had at Choza. So I would still say go eat at Choza. But I don't think you're gonna be disappointed if you go eat at Sand and Hill. Babies recently to hang out with? No, he's all grown up. Yeah, he's busy. Overseeing the kingdom. He's the king now, yes. But you still help, I'm sure. Yeah, you're so wise. Yeah, he needs your wisdom. Did we take a picture of you? How should we pose? Like this? Okay.
Very zen. Oh, I love it. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
Thank you, Rafid. How are you? How's your garden? It's doing good? You've been digging, yeah? Planting all kinds of things. I hope that Tigger doesn't ruin it for you. He always seems to be bouncing in your garden and you just get it all nice and then he comes along and yeah. How should we pose for our picture, Rabbit? Like that? Okay.
Perfect. All right. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. You look incredible, Rabbit.
Thank you, Rabbit.
So good to see you.
Mr. Penguin, how are you? You look so dapper. Yes. Now, yeah, you have a little bow tie. Oh yeah, just like you. Have you been working a lot at the Penguin restaurant? Serving all kinds of things? You guys are so cute. Yeah, I'm impressed you didn't spill everything. Yeah, that's very impressive. Can you show me how to pose like a penguin? Okay, our feet like, okay, 1 foot like that.
Oh,
and then like that.
Oh, we have a professional in the building. Here we go, everybody. 3, 2, 1.
Thank
Incredible.
you, Mr. Penguin. Please tell Mary and Bert hello for us.
On our way to our next restaurant in search of redemption and had to take a bit of a character break here in the American Adventure down a little alleyway. Now, you'll not find these character meet and greets on any Times Guide. It won't be in any app. It will not be advertised anywhere. These are a surprise and delight because this is often the place where new magic makers will come out and learn how to provide that incredible guest experiences. And you'll see that on those character attendance badges there that says earning my ears. So they're out here earning their ears. And that means oftentimes these folks are out here for the first time meeting guests and practicing their roles. And if you're lucky enough to see this, it's often really fun to go and meet maybe a lesser known character or maybe your best pal. Now back to the matter at hand. Konnichiwa from Japan. Our next stop is Katsura Grill, which you would imagine being situated in a quite serene location in the back of the Japan Pavilion, and for a pavilion that often sports some very tasty eats, that this would be a premier quick service location. In fact, Disney describes this as quiet your mind and your hunger in this serene setting as you listen to the sound of distant taiko drums. Enjoy teriyaki, sushi, chicken cutlet curry, salads, and more. Draft beer, sake, and plum wine are also available. Good. You know what, Disney? That's good enough. Thanks. But in the past, my experience here has been subpar, and often this spot is one of the lowest rated locations by guests. I do love a koi pond, though. Oh, there's many fish here. Which one's your fish?
Favorite fish?
Uh-huh. There are so many. How can you tell?
It's, they all look very different. It's the orange and white one with the black down his back.
Oh, that's your favorite?
That's my favorite one.
What's his name? What's their name, I should say?
Ichiran.
Named after the iconic ramen franchise found in Japan and also in New York and San Francisco.
Yeah, the one that I'm going to wish I was eating at instead of here.
You would, to be clear, you're not wishing you would eat the fish.
No, I don't want to eat the fish. I want to eat good ramen.
There we go. On our walk to Katsura Grill, Molly and I were just remarking about how beautiful the Japan Pavilion is. Specifically right now, we're here at right around 4:30 in the afternoon. The sun is cresting over the back of some of the buildings, and it is absolutely stunning, not to mention these beautiful Zen gardens with the water flowing. What a pretty pavilion.
Taking a look at the menu, it's no surprise they do offer sushi as well as a couple varieties of ramen and udon, different noodle dishes. They have a chicken cutlet curry, as well as a couple teriyaki dishes. As far as drinks go, they do have a variety of sake, Japanese draft beer, a couple of cocktails, including the popular violet sake, which you can get in the sake house downstairs as well, and then a few different desserts.
From Katsura Grill, we have picked up a spicy tuna roll, as well as the tonkatsu ramen. This is bringing back memories of our trips to actual Japan, although I will say that there is something missing from this tonkatsu ramen that I know is greatly upsetting to one Molly. It's missing her beloved runny ramen egg.
That's all I want. I don't even like the meat. I do have to say, it is lovely. It's a beautiful day weather-wise, but it's very serene up here. You've got this nice music playing, but also the Japanese drummers are drumming, and so like vibes high. But let's talk about the food. We've got our nudes, some mushrooms, that pork. This is traditionally a pork broth as well. Try and get some nudes and some mushroom here. This is fine. It's honestly better than I thought it would be. The noodles are cooked well. They're that nice kind of soft ramen noodle. The pork is good. I wish there was more of the pork. It seems like there's only one piece of the pork. Wish there was a little bit more of that. I like the mushrooms. What I'm not loving is the ginger. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on Japanese cooking, but I am going to say out of all the times I've eaten ramen in actual Japan, there's never been ginger in it. So I don't know if... There's just a lot of ginger, so if I were to get this again, I would ask them to hold that. Overall, it's fine. It's not as rich. The broth isn't as like slurpable as I want it to be. But this is better than I expected it, so I'm not mad at it. But it's definitely not going to make my short list of things to eat in Epcot. Also, I'm sure you're watching this like it's unfair to compare it to ramen in Japan, but I've had very good ramen in the United States too, and this is not on that level.
Like ramen, sushi is one of those things when you've had it done really well, changes the game. But I'm excited to try it.
Bad sushi is bad sushi.
That's true. Bad, as Molly has said in the corner there, bad sushi is bad sushi. I don't think that will be the case here, but let's try. So, a spicy tuna roll, traditionally, is tuna that has either been minced or tuna that remains whole, that has been coated in a spicy seasoning, oftentimes a sort of sesame chili oil, served with a cucumber, and then on top you will have spicy mayonnaise. And this is fine. If that was a sushi scale, this is far above what you'd be worried about getting at at like a supermarket in the States. Tastes fresh, doesn't taste or smell fishy. Like, this is a fine theme park snack. If you're jonesing for sushi, get it. But I should also note, if you don't want to walk all the way up here, you can pick up the same sushi at the Kabuki Cafe. And also some yakigori, which is some delicious shaved ice. All right, so what do we think?
I think redeemed, and here's why. In the past, if people had asked me where to eat at Epcot, I would have told them to avoid Katsura Grill. And now, while I don't think it's going to go on my must-eat list, if you really want Japanese food and you're in Epcot and there's not a festival kiosk, or you don't want to spend the time and money to do a sit-down, I think you're going to find decent options.
Yeah, it's going to scratch that itch for you. I couldn't agree more. And all the items we had today were improved from when I had them last. Certainly not representative of the entire menu, but I got to say I was pleasantly surprised.
Good job, Katsura Grill.
Well done.
We're happy to see it.
Yeah.
One more spot. And we've touched down at our final destination, Space 220, one of the most popular restaurants in all of Walt Disney World and one of the hardest dining reservations to get. As the name would suggest, Space 220 is a space-themed restaurant open for lunch and dinner, located right here next to Mission Space, where you are going to blast off 220 miles above Epcot and dine amongst the stars. According to Disney, I didn't even read this, and I just said the thing Disney said. According to Disney, it says dine among the stars at an all-new restaurant that's out of this world. All new, of course, being 4 years old at this point. A stellar adventure. Embark on the ultimate culinary exploration from this new expansion of the Mission Space Pavilion. Step inside Space 220 restaurant featuring a celestial panorama from a space station for a delicious meal. To begin your journey, board a special space elevator that will ascend to the stars. Along the way, viewports will give you an aerial view of Epcot as you travel high above the planet. As you dine, peer out, and enjoy amazing daytime and nighttime views of Earth from 220 miles up. Now, it should be noted that Space 220, if you book a reservation at the actual restaurant itself, is a prix-fixe meal. And for adults, it's $55 for a 2-course meal at lunch and $79 for a 3-course meal at dinner. At dinner, you get a dessert as well as the appetizer and entree. And those price points, combined with the lengthy amount of time it takes to get through multiple courses, is why this restaurant is on our list today. Yes, it's very cool to go to Space and to gaze amongst the stars, but again, we are at Epcot, the park with the best food. Do you really want to spend $80, which is comparable to going to Le Cellier, and multiple hours to go to a, let's face it, gimmicky restaurant? We're going to find out. Now, I should note that today we are headed to the Space 220 Lounge, which is the same thing as Space 220, except for it's a special seating section of the restaurant where you aren't required to order the whole prefix. You can order just some lounge bites and cocktails. The description here from Disney is stargaze while you savor flight bites, atmospheric spirits, and worldly wines in this stellar lounge. The Space 220 Lounge is the single hardest dining reservation to get in Walt Disney World because it is so limited as far as seats go, and because, you know, people know that the lounge is the better option when it comes to dining inside Space 220. I was very excited, blown away in fact, to see that there was a lounge reservation when I was booking dining for this video, so I went ahead and snatched that, and now it's time to head to Spas.
Gather your belongings and exit through the open airlock. A Space 220 agent will be waiting for you.
All right, we have officially made it to space, and we are greeted by space cabbage, space cauliflower, space broccoli, just space vegetables.
Splettus.
What?
Splettus.
Just wanted to make sure I captured that particular word combination. Yep.
Slavage. Cauliflower.
Oh, good, yeah. You know, looking at this, I truly do feel that I am living with the land. Hydroponic techniques have been mastered by different farmers in order to ensure that you're able to maximize the amount of crop growth with minimal amounts of water.
Made it to our table at the Centauri space station, and you can see out the window the vastness of Spas and the planet Earth. As you look out the window, pay attention, because you'll see folks that live here on the Centauri space station out and about, even maybe walking their space dog or playing with lightsabers. A fun Easter egg is that one of the spacecraft that will fly by is the space shuttle from Mission Spas. So that's a fun little tie-in to the ride next door. Now let's take a look at the menus. This is the lounge menu, so only sitting in these few seats can you order off of this specific menu, where it has the flight bites with things like the Astro Deviled Eggs, my personal favorite, the Blue Moon Cauliflower, as well as the short rib sliders. And then of course this is a lounge. They have a variety of cocktails themed to Spas, including the Illumination, the Shuttle Crew, and the Up All Night Spressy-Tini. You've also got some beers, wines, and zero-proof cocktails that come with some special Space 220 collectible trading cards. And then this is your 3-course dinner, which you are welcome to order at the lounge. One person or everyone at the table can do it. However, when you sit in the regular part of the restaurant, everyone at the table must order the 2-course meal at lunch or the 3-course meal at dinner. So if you're a party of 4, you're looking at $320 without even adding on drinks or tip. On the 3-course meal, for starters, you have a lot of the same ones as the flight bites, as well as some additional things like the butternut solar soup, the Neb tuna tartare, and the Wagyu beef carpaccio. Then for your star course, your main course, you have things like a pork chop, pad thai, and probably the best bang for your buck, an 8-ounce filet mignon. You also can do add-ons to add things like a half-shelled lobster to that filet, or you could upgrade to a 24-ounce bone-in ribeye for an additional $20. And lastly, again, on the dessert prefix only, you're looking at the Supernova Suite. So you have things like a cosmic cheesecake, Bodhi's swirl chiffon cake, or the Capella maple mousse. I should note that lunch, these 2 top courses are the same. You're just missing the dessert portion. And then, of course, if you're sitting in the regular restaurant, you can order whatever cocktails you like. The cocktail, beer, wine menu is the same as the lounge. Because we are doing our best to redeem Space 220 as a whole, we have decided to kind of do the best of both worlds. Someone call Hannah Montana. So we are going to split one 3-course meal, so we can show you how much food you get with that 3-course meal, but we're going to take advantage of being at the lounge and being allowed to split that versus both being required to order one.
Our beverages have arrived. Now Molly has picked up the Black Hole Fashion. This is made with Buffalo Trace Bourbon, Demerara sugar, and whiskey barrel-aged bitters. I picked up the Command Center. This is made with Conniption Kinship Gin, Saint Germain Elderflower Liqueur, lemon juice, and freeze-dried raspberries. Now that's the little sprinkling on top. Ooh, so fancy. He's so fancy.
Space cocktail time. You know, in space no one can hear you scream, so no one will be able to hear me scream out loud how good this old-fashioned is and how honestly flabbergasted I am by that, because I don't think of a place like Space 220 as somewhere that's going to have good craft cocktails. That's delicious. It's very spirit forward, so if you don't like bourbon, maybe not for you. I don't know what's making it this color. I'm not gonna worry about it, but this does taste like something that Harry Stamper would drink as he goes to space to save the world.
Cheers. That's a darn good space teeny. That's what I'm gonna go with. Space teeny. The elderflower really complements the gin's botanicals very nicely. It's not super sweet. You can still taste a lot of the spirit. I gotta be honest, I didn't think I would enjoy this beverage that much. I'm incredibly pleasantly surprised. I'd also say normally this type of drink I could only have one of. I could have many. Here is our lift-off, or our starter. It is the Grow Zone Sprouts Salad. This is made with roasted Brussels sprouts, frisee, whipped ricotta, pickled onions, orange, pumpkin seeds, and a maple Dijon vinaigrette. This is a vegetarian and gluten-free option. I'm happy to have a vegetable. That is a big Brussels sprout.
Okay.
I'm a very big fan of this. It is a warm salad, so be aware of that. The Brussels sprouts are warm. Pickled onions on top, not as much so, but that's a fine little acidic contrast to the very earthy flavor of the Brussels, complemented nicely by the arugula that you have and the frisee. But the standout star is this mustard vinaigrette. Yes. This is very tasty. I would 100% order this again. I will say, upon eating this more, of course, one, you must like Brussels sprouts in order to like this dish. It is very sprout heavy. Two, also, if you're texturally sensitive, I've noticed that some of the roasted Brussels sprouts have been more mushy than others, which is not my favorite. So I know that if you are texturally averse, then that will potentially be off-putting. Thankfully for me, I still enjoy the flavors of this. Just something to note.
This is the Slow Rotation 0G Short Rib. It is a braised short rib with cheddar grits, bacon, rainbow carrots, and Haricot Spurts green beans. That came apart pretty easily. This is a perfectly fine short rib. It is, I actually think the sides are better than the short rib. I think the grits and the green beans are pretty well done, and even Alan approved the grits. The short rib itself, it's very tender, it falls apart nice, it's moist. It just doesn't have a ton of flavor. It's a little bland. I wish I had more of a sauce or something going on, but this is fine.
Our dessert has arrived, and you might notice that there's quite a bit here. So we'll get to this right-hand section with these three items in just a moment. What we ordered was the Soul. This is the chocolate tart, coffee sponge, hazelnut crunch, coffee mousse, and a cherry gel, because we like coffee. And then we were talking with our server about some of the other options on the dessert menu, and she mentioned that there is a trio that is served on the lunch menu only in the lounge of Space 220. And then she went above and beyond and made some magic for us and brought that out to us. On this is the Cosmic Cheesecake. This is chocolate cheesecake with chocolate crumbs, a raspberry gel, and a chocolate dome. The Lunar Carrot Cake, which is carrot cake, cream cheese, and candied pistachios. And the Bodhi's Swirl, which is lemon chiffon, berry compote, and marshmallow meringue.
First of all, the cheesecake, which I was told I'm supposed to go like this. Aha! She's rich. Much like Jeff Bezos, this is a very rich cheesecake that's also been to space. It almost is more of a mousse. Like, the filling really reminds me of a decadent chocolate mousse more than a cheesecake, although it does have that little bit of tang from the cream cheese on the back end. If you're a chocolate lover, I think this is going to be right up your alley. I, however, am a coffee lover, so I'm excited to dig into this one. I'm not being violent enough, I guess. My bite was too big. That's actually delicious. My initial bite might have been too big, but it kind of tastes like the previous dessert if it had coffee flavor, which obviously I love. You have to like coffee to enjoy this. You can taste the hazelnut a little bit. I kind of wish you could taste the fruit a little bit more, but mostly it tastes like a very delicious mousse-based dessert with a crispy crunch and a nice coffee flavor. So that's nice.
I don't know how to. Oh, that's how. Oh, it's like a chocolate shell at the bottom. This is a very, very, very light dish in that it is airy and the flavor is also very light. Not as light as, LaCroix, where somebody whispered pamplemousse in the other room. Light flavor, but still quite light. You get a little bit of the lemon from the cake, mostly blueberry from that center filling. I think the only thing that makes me a little bit sad is that the cake is dry. Not my favorite, if I'm being honest, but not terrible. And now for the carrot cake. Ooh. It's so rich, not incredibly dense. The cake is moist. You get some of that carrot flavor followed by a lot of autumnal spices. So right up Molly's alley, really. Some cinnamon, certainly some as well. And then the icing on top isn't super sweet. It honestly has a little bit more of like a tang to it, like we were tasting in the cheesecake. I really like that more than I thought I would. Wow.
Also want to point out that as dusk falls and as the sun sets on the earth, you can see the sun setting on the earth out the window.
All right, well, that's Space 220.
I think that Space 220 restaurant redeems itself by having the lounge exist. I don't know that the restaurant is worth it. That prefix cost is very expensive, and you could eat a comparable 3-course meal at Le Cellier for not much more money. So I think when you're looking at just the prefix and just the food, I think the restaurant itself, not worth it for most people.
I gotta say though, if you have someone in your family, let's just say there's a small human who really loves space, boy, are they going to be hyped about this experience. So just know that if you've got a smallish human in your party who loves space, this is worth looking at just to get their reactions. Every single kid we saw was absolutely outside their mind, loving not only the trip up in the space elevator, but also seeing what's going on outside in space. And for you adults in the party, just know you're going to be paying a little bit more for your meal.
And in that case, it's far more worth it than somewhat comparable gimmicky restaurants like T-Rex or Rainforest Cafe, where the food is really not good. The food is good here, it just is in Epcot, which is, I think, a detriment to the restaurant.
I think we had this conversation a little bit off camera. I think Space 220 and Tomorrowland, we're having an entirely different conversation.
Bang. But the lounge is where this restaurant shines. I know it's very hard to get a reservation. They also do walk up, first come, first seating at the bar, high chairs only. But the fact that you can order a la carte choices off of the 3-course menu, you can do the appetizer menus and get a cocktail. The point of Space 220 is to get in there. And the lounge allows you to get in there, spend less time and money, but still have the experience.
The best of both worlds.
And for that, I think it's a pretty cool restaurant.
Okay, that brings us to the end of this restaurant redemption.
Let us know if you have an idea of where we should play next or restaurants we should feature. Let's see if anyone else can redeem themselves.
But until next time, friends, be sure to like this video, subscribe if you're new, follow us on all of our socials, and come join us on Discord. We'd love to have you there. The links for all that down below.
And until next time, friends, I'm Molly.
And I'm Alan.
And it has been so magical.
I'm so full.
I could stay awake just to hear you breathing. Watch you smile while you are sleeping.
This happens on Mondays on the podcast.
While you're far away from dreaming.
Okay.
I could spend my life in the sweet surrender.